Chapter 16. The game was all. Agella was gone. Dead. For the first few years, decades, centuries, Father had brought her to me. She had come and Lakofa had come and Menno had come. All my dead brothers and sisters, my friends, my enemies, my love. All dead. But still Father had given me my home in Azure Level, my old home, with my fellows around me. In Idar was there, and Wormer, built of my own memory. The pure memories, those that Father created out of my mind, were thin, paltry creatures. They did only what they had always done. It was a shame I had never known them better. If my memories had gone deeper, Father could have made them more amusing. Where Father had the body and brain, he could be far more creative. Agella and I propagated. We had 3 juvies. But they were sad illusions, partial, incomplete. I had never paid any attention to young juvies. My mind could not create them, write them fully. They seemed to come and go at random. I would remember them and they would appear, I would forget them and they would disappear for hours or days. Lakofa and I grew old together, old friends. We spent our free time together. Recited the old poems together, talked about the good old days. He grew old. So did I. Jiklet would come by sometimes. We would run into her at the perches. She was quite the respected person now, under consideration for appointment to the council. And Menno? For a while it was Menno I played against in every game. Father would match us together. Father enjoyed watching the interaction of hostilities. Menno and I were so different. But over time our hostility paled, faded. It's hard to hate a dead person. Even one who seems so vital and alive. How many games had I played with Father? 1,000? 10,000? I tried to refuse, but when I did he simply turned off the illusion of home and I saw who and what and where I was. I was back under the sea, tethered for eternity to the tendril that grew inside me, that reached itself into my brain. I was back amidst the endless forest of tentacles with Lakofa and Menno and poor Agella still floating, dead but never decaying, never disintegrating, never at peace. But it was more than the loss of illusions that motivated me to play. It was that I had nothing else. Nothing but the game. The game and the tiny flicker of undying hope. What a sad, desperate illusion. How ludicrous to cling to the hope of escape. And escape to what? Where would I go? What would I be? I was part of Father. There was no Tumen, no Ellimist. There was only Father. And yet, I still lived. I still played the game and made my own gaming decisions. Father needed me, I had long since recognized that fact. He kept me alive to play, because though I lost each game, I was his best opponent. I want to play a game, Father said. He had acquired a new face, his own face, or a facsimile, a sort of game name. He took Ketran form, an oldster, a wise one. He flew to my dock, hovered, and repeated, "Shall we immerse?" On the other side, I said. Father played many games. Many games. I believe he had culled them from 1,000 races, all over the galaxy. We had played games not much different than our own old alien civilizations. We had simple games of reflex. Killing games. Games of forethought involving the complex movement of pieces on a flat plane or within a cube or within n-dimensional space. Games that were games of games. It was all I had. I had begged Father to kill me, to end it. But of course he refused. I had tried deliberately losing, hoping to make the games boring to Father. But Father was patient, he could out me. For years, decades, it didn't matter to him. And in the end I always came back to the game. You make what you can of the life you have, I suppose. The new game began. It was different. Father had acquired some new species. I was all at once in a close, dank, almost airless room. At least it seemed airless to me, a Ketran. though in all fairness I now lived out my life smothered beneath miles of ocean, and tethered to a tendril, so I was hardly one to complain. Nevertheless, it seemed airless. Not a large room, perhaps 100 feet square. There were creatures, odd, misshapen things that seemed to be an amalgamation of a dozen different races. Faces with 2 eyes front and a 3rd eye facing back. Their hair was long, running all the way down their spiked backs to the floor. All different colors, green hair and red hair and yellow. Black faces and white and purple. Arms seemed to be almost optional, some had 3, others as many as 9. They were definitely new. Like no race I'd ever seen before. Father had made a new acquisition. I knew instinctively that we were aboard a ship. But it moved. Not the smooth acceleration of a spacecraft. This ship moved up and down and sideways as if it were being buffeted by a storm, or even floating on a watery sea. The creatures sat at tables with their individualistic bodies splayed out comfortably. They were enjoying drinks. Perhaps mild intoxicants. And they were watching us. We, me and Father in the person of Minnow, were performers at one end of the room on a raised platform. We each held a tool of some sort. A long thing, nearly my own body length, a sort of flattened, whimsically shaped board. And stretched along the board were 7 taut strings. There was a mouthpiece as well that reached up to where I could, by bending my neck just a little, place it in my mouth. Minnow grinned at me, a cocky challenge. He placed his mouth around the mouthpiece and blew while strumming his fingers across the strings. The result? It was like nothing I'd heard in life or a dream. The sounds were not mere sounds. I don't have words to explain. Maybe no one does. The sounds touched a part of me I'd long forgotten. The sounds made me think of Agella. Of home. Of the stars and the sun and the clouds and of all the beauty, sadness, joy, and laughter I'd ever known. Minnow/Father finished playing and the creatures in the audience emitted honking vocalizations that seemed especially harsh in contrast with the sounds of Minnow's instrument. "Your turn," Minnow said. I placed my lips as I'd seen him do, and my hands as he had done. And I made sounds. But not the sounds he had made. Mine were harsh and grating and contemptible in my own ears. And yet, I could hear, even there, even in my own incoherence, the seed of something. Something. The audience favored me with stony silence. "That's game." Minnow laughed. "What is this game, Father?" "These creatures are called the Unamites. They are not spacefaring. I happened to draw a Skritna freighter into my web, useless species, the Skritna, and aboard their ship they had a Unamite captive." "The game, Father. What is it called?" "They call it music." "I can never hope to win," I said. "I beg you, Father, release me. I don't want to play it again." He refused. Of course I knew he would. And I knew this about Father, his one weakness was his cruelty. I could use that. He would force me to play this game 1,000 times. "Step into my lair," said the Dreth to the Corcant.